The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary-related entertainment.
Aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes. Each week on this show, you'll find us talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support those with needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's cabinet and appliance showroom located in the Waikapu Bayshard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. During this hour, we share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they're changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. Today we have with us two very special people because they run nonprofit programs, right? So that means that there's, in Maui County, what do we got? 200 very special people.
I bet there's more.
Well, they qualify to be on this show.
Okay.
Okay. And that basic qualification is they have to be members, their agency has to be a member of the nonprofit directors. But yeah, there's probably more, but I don't think there's any more talented than what we find in the organization. And I'm going out on a limb here. Somebody pull me back before I get in real trouble. But today we're going to be talking with Debbie Amaral, who's the Director of Early Childhood Services at MEO. Hi, Debbie.
Hi.
And in the second half of the show, we're going to be talking with Wes Lowe, who's the new CEO at Halemakua.
Yep. Morning or afternoon.
How's it feel to be the new CEO, huh?
It's wonderful. It's been a nice change, and I'm excited to stay in the healthcare industry.
Yeah, and we're thrilled to have you stay in it. Many of us were scared to death you were going to leave the island for something. Because there's not too many opportunities.
Yeah, Maui's been here a long time. It's grown on me, so I'm get to work with people like you and Debbie. So how could I leave?
There you go.
And
That's good. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll hear from Wes in the second half of the show, but let's get started on the early childhood services over at MEO. The biggest one that most people know about is Head Start, of course.
Yes, our Head Start program.
And everybody keeps asking me, why can't I get my kid into Head Start? Why is there always such a long wait list? Can't they do something to get more programs going?
Definitely a challenge. And, as we transition into a new administration, most people know that Head Start is federally funded. So a lot is dependent upon what decisions our Congress, our Senate, our president is going to make. And a lot of programs like Head Start are at this point in time, we try to justify our existence. It's very important that children all enter into kindergarten ready to learn. And we all know, too, that individuals that do not have the ability to pay for a quality early childhood experience would definitely not have that opportunity. And I'm not sure if I shared with you the last time I was here, but the statistic of there's over 300 million words, vocabulary words, that a child at age 3 would have in comparison to a child that has the means. So a child that comes to us that does not have the opportunity to be experienced to a lot of vocabulary words, mainly those in poverty or low-income households, may come to school or enter school with 300 million less vocabulary words in comparison to their peers.
Oh my goodness.
So that really puts children in a disadvantage in many cases. And of course, that's only the academic part of it. There's also other elements involved. And so our goal and our push daily is to ensure that children receive quality education, exposure to many words, and opportunities that will put them in a better position to be positively competitive, so that when they enter into school, they'll be ready to learn.
I'm stunned over the number of words you were talking about. That's a number I can't comprehend. Why do I keep using the same ones over and over? I write so many letters and things, and I'm thinking, is there another way to say this? And I end up saying it the same way.
I know, hence the thesaurus, right?
Yeah, right.
Our default.
That's incredible.
It is. It is. I remember when I first heard that statistic, I thought, my gosh, and I also read the literature on how they developed that number, because that wasn't something that was randomly pulled out of thin air. They actually did studies and research based on this in comparison. So
Right.
it was really something that was compelling to me. And I try to share this with our families with hopes that they understand the importance of reading to your child at least 5, 10, 15 minutes a day. It is so essentially important. And it's not just for low-income families, it's for every single child.
Wow. I have a little grandnephew who's 2.5, and he gets these Ranger Rick Jr. books and
Yeah.
the things from, and he takes them into his room, closes the door, sits down in his rocker, and acts like he's reading.
Oh,
them,
yeah.
Right? And then his mom will ask him, well, what'd you read today? And he'll come out and he'll start giving her some stuff. And then she says, well, why don't I sit down and read it with you? And it's not even, well, it's kind of close because the pictures help.
Right. And even for, there's one of my favorite early childhood books is Brown Bear, and it's very repetitious. And that's how young children learn how to rhyme, how to understand that words develop into a sentence, which develop into ideas. And eventually you're going to have children, because of memory, they think that they're reading. We as adults know that they're not, but I mean, as a child, that is such an exciting moment to believe that, I understand based on the pictures, based
Right.
on, again, through rote memory. And it's early signs of early reading. That's how they start.
That's cool. Well, I know she spends a lot of time reading with him because she understands the importance, and as he gets ready to go to school, 2.5, he's getting close.
Absolutely. Yes.
So it's going to be interesting to see. I can't wait to
Yes.
watch him.
But
go ahead.
I'm sorry, going back to the budget and going back into program operations, every year we're finding, in terms of the cost of living, everything is going up. And so the more cost that it takes to operate the program, sometimes we have to look at other means of either reducing our funded enrollment, meaning that through the federal Office of Head Start, we can request for less slots. However, our funding stays the same, and then we just have to reallocate to meet the needs of the program. There's so many performance standards that we have to abide by, and so we can't just cut, maybe we won't serve breakfast or we won't serve lunch. It's not an option.
Right.
There's all these requirements that we have to meet. So it's a challenge, and I wanted to respond to that piece because it does answer on why there's not enough slots. If we had, because I believe right now we have 124 children on the wait list that are actually eligible. There's more, but those individuals may not be income eligible. But out of the, I would say 224 applicants that we have on the wait list, 124 end up being eligible, either income eligible or in whatever capacity, a foster child. There's certain criteria that are considered a high priority. Homelessness is another one. And so, when we look through the list, if we have an opening at any time, and this is something that parents may not know, but it's not a first come, first serve application process. Right now we have an open enrollment, and I'll know we go into that later. But during the course of the year, if there's a slot that becomes vacant, we have 30 days to fill it. So we immediately go to the wait list, and whoever is the child that's next for that location that will rise up to the top is the child that we'll select.
Interesting. So you've got the income qualification, and there's several others as I recall.
Yeah, foster children, homelessness, Social Security insurance, and TANF, which is temporary assistance for needy families.
Okay, and then there's also the kids with the special needs.
Yes.
And that special needs is always kind of that, okay, what's in that bucket?
True. We do have 10% of our enrollment. So right now we have a funded enrollment of 254. So 25 or 10% can be over income. And what we do is we save that, because we also have to do 10% of children that have special needs, and they have to be certified special needs through the Department of Education. So we have a really good partnership with the DOE, where I believe we have 6 locations that are we have duly enrolled children or children that are certified with special needs, however, placed in what we call a least restrictive environment where they can be with their peers and learn. A large percentage are usually children with speech delays. We do have some children that are higher functioning autism, and many of them, in terms of the classroom that they're placed in, there's a Department of Education special education teacher, as well as sometimes an education assistant. And so in that environment, you're going to see children thriving. And what's interesting too is when you walk into the environment, one of the tests is that you wouldn't be able to pick out the child that has special needs unless they have a physical identification, like a child with Down syndrome. But other than that, you walk into an environment and there is no way that you would be able to identify that a child has a special need. And for me, that speaks volumes, because you want children to feel included and accepted and welcomed.
Right. And not different.
No.
That's a bad word.
Yeah. Well, different is okay as long as they understand that, there's ways to celebrate differences. And it's okay for, a child to have different color hair, different color eyes. But again, we look at what's alike. And, we all want to be safe. We all want to feel accepted. We all want to make sure that we take care of each other and take care of our school. So there's many ways of celebrating not only differences, but similarities.
Right. Cool. Okay. I think that clears up some questions that I had, and hopefully for the audience out there as well. Yes.
I do want to say that for children coming in with special needs, many times we still request for income verification, just for formality of it's a process that we do for all families. However, their income is not considered their eligible criteria. It's the child's confirmation with their special need. That's the one item that puts them eligible.
I see. Okay. Very good. Now, 254 children in 13 centers.
Yes.
Maui and Molokai.
Maui and Molokai.
And that's really it. I mean, there's not a whole lot, as you've been explaining. The budget is the budget.
The budget is the budget.
And the criteria, you talked about the different things that are your markers as you go through the class year or school year. Now, your teachers all have to have certain certifications. I mean, you cannot just take somebody who wants to teach and help and put them in there.
No, and as a matter of fact, we have people that come in with degrees, master's degrees, bachelor's degrees, and because we are licensed by the State of Hawaii Department of Human Services, there's a certain criteria of qualifications that individuals have to have in order to be licensed in the state of Hawaii. And for our program, what we require, as well as all other licensed preschools, it's a person with either an associate's or a bachelor's degree with emphasis in early childhood. I know years ago, our University of Hawaii Maui College, or prior to that MCC, used to have a human services degree that had a branch off of either social services or early childhood, and now they separated it out, so they have their own entity of early childhood services. A person can actually come in with an unrelated field, however, have to go and get like a certificate of completion, or there's another name for it, but it's identifying that this person has an additional certification in early childhood education. In addition to that, there's also something called a CDA. It's a Child Development Associate. And in the state, they recognize that as being teacher qualified. However, for Head Start alone, the performance standards indicate that a person with a CDA can be assistant teacher qualified, however, not teacher qualified.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a difference in regards to Head Start. And so in our program, we have a lead teacher, we have an assistant teacher, that would be CDA qualified or higher. Some people come in with an associate's degree. However, we don't have a teacher position available, and so they accept the assistant teacher position. And then we also have teacher aides that come in like an entry level, because we have a number of our families that, or a number of our staff who was previous families in the program. Through the process of volunteering in the classroom, they fell in love or had a passion, perhaps something that they didn't realize that they had, but some people just have a natural skill. And so we support many of our families or parents coming in that are interested, to walk them through the process as entry level, and then perhaps even going through the process of taking some courses through training or even formal courses through the college and getting their degree eventually.
And you do have some teachers who they started out at Head Start
Absolutely.
and worked their way through school and got their education, got their degree, and they've come back to teach.
They've come back to teach, or even in addition to that, they've come back to be managers or family case managers in the office.
Oh, so staff is also.
Yep. So office staff, you never know. It's the same understanding with children. They come in, they're children of promise. You never know what their potential are, and with the parents, it's the same way. They have no idea. And maybe they do, but many of them come in and they have no idea how talented they are in terms of working with young children. And once that light bulb goes on, it's like not stopping them. They're going to be driven to make it happen.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's one of the more exciting, along with seeing children grow, but watching the parents grow. It's
Right.
Pretty cool.
Well, you got a dual track going here.
Yes.
3-year-olds and senior, and not seniors, adults.
Oh, but we
Yeah.
also have grandparents
See?
raising children too.
Whoa, hang on.
So-
We're going to take a short break, and we'll come back and talk about that one.
Okay.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our executive directors and staff of our nonprofit agencies and find out what they are up to today. No more what we've learned about them or heard about them. This is straight from the ED, the CEO, the director, the whatever the title is, straight from them. What's going on
From the
today?
source.
Yeah, the source. So the thing that intrigues me is like, okay, you've got between 15 and 20, 3 and 4 year olds.
Yes.
In this class. What happens during the day?
Well, Typical day. And I'm going to focus on a center that opens till 3 o'clock. We're very lucky. We usually Head Start is designed to be a part-day program, but because the County of Maui has generously provided funding for us to extend our day, it truly helps people who are working or going to school or in job training to have that time that they can go and explore options to help them become self-sufficient. So typical day in the morning, our day starts at 7:30 where children are dropped off. Parents usually will walk in, sign their child in. Some parents that can stay a little bit will go ahead and read a book or do a table activity with children, but they'll do this morning transition into school. Before you know it, it's time to gather into circle. Circle is, if you can imagine, 20 children sitting together in a group. Sometimes they form a circle, sometimes they sit together within a group area. But at that time, the teacher will usually set the tone for the day. What are we working on? And in Head Start, we work on studies, which is very different from years ago where we had themes. Now the idea is studies. So say we're working on plants. So we might go ahead and bring out a plant during circle time, talk about, what did the children know? Well, for some children, they'll say it's green, it's growing, there's dirt, just through observation. So the teachers will usually write this down and, have that ready on the side. After that, the children will go wash their hands and get ready for breakfast. There's a group breakfast and it's served family style. It's a Head Start requirement. And that means that the children will have the food presented in front of them. They'll take their portions, and during the course of that period, there's a lot of discussion, not just about the food, the color, the textures, but also about, each other, what's happening. The children will talk about home, they'll talk about their family. We try to make connections with the children in terms of what's presented. Maybe families cook that at home. How is it different? And then after that, they usually will go back into a circle activity or transition into, and they also do toothbrushing. Almost forgot about that.
After the meal.
After meal, they do toothbrushing, and then they transition into learning centers. Learning centers mean that you're going to see like a library area, dramatic play area, block area, a discovery area, and children will go into those areas and actually play, which as early childhood professionals, we know that that's the work. That's how they're learning. And interesting, in a block area, we have little architects. We have children learning about balance, about trial and error. They're using beams that are maybe longer, shorter, taller. So they're learning all about their math. There's a lot of concepts. In dramatic play, it might be because we have the theme that I'm using is plants. It might be a nursery, like a plant, a place where you're going to sell plants. And so we might have some potting items, some things that the children can put aprons on, little pads of paper that they can take notes on. So again, it's that social skills, communication, writing skills, sorting. At 3. Yep, at 3 years old. It's very interesting, but it happens in a preschool setting.
Wow.
Technically. And then, so children will go into those areas, they'll play, but there'll also be some activities at the table that are teacher directed. Many of the activities in a classroom you're going to see are child driven, meaning that children can go and independently play with adult supervision. But the teacher-directed activity is going to be something that we want to have as open-ended because we want creativity. We also want the child's individual skills to be present. So, can this child cut? Can they trace on a line? Can they design something, of course, that is their own with limited, this is what the product's going to look like at the end. So a lot of that will happen. So during this period of time, which lasts maybe about 45 minutes, after that, it's transition time again. So usually they'll either gather into circle before they go to outdoor play. And then outdoor is an extension of the classroom. So it doesn't mean that the children are just running around. There's some activities that are planned outside to keep the learning going. And again, there's a lot of activity more for what we call gross motor or for full body development, jumping, skipping, riding on a tricycle, climbing up on a play structure, a lot of that. And then after that, the children transition back inside. They usually will go again into circle and have their transition to calm their bodies down. Then they go to hand washing, and then it's usually lunch. And then after lunch, toothbrushing. And then we put on some soft music. And at that point, that's what's coming. It's coming. And a lot of times, especially for the young 3s, now that we have some 5-year-olds in preschool, because the age change has taken place for kindergarten entry, we have a wide range. So you got the younger 3s that is like, when you see it on Facebook, the children that are chewing their food and they're like slowly falling asleep. But for the younger 3s, they really go to sleep fast. And again, we don't force nap. It's more to teach children to rest your body. Your body needs some, quiet time. And then eventually we'll give the non-nappers books or a quiet puzzle that they can do independently on their space. And then after that, they transition. And for the centers that open till 3, most centers that close at 2 o'clock, the parents will come and pick up their children. But then at 3 o'clock, we normally will transition into a snack time. And then after that, it's a quiet or some activities in the classroom. And then at 3 o'clock, their parents come and pick them up. And it's time to go home. And then we do it all again tomorrow.
I'm going to quit my job and go to Head Start. Yeah?
It's fun.
That sounds like a cool day.
It's fun.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's neat.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really a lot of different things, but it's learning every step of the way.
Every step. And
different phases of your
Yep.
life.
And, we're firm believers that children learn from the second they walk into the classroom, from the second that they exit and go home with their families, because that period of, and again, learning extends because parents are their child's first teachers.
Right.
So the learning process, especially research has shown 0 to 5, it technically goes up to 8, but that brain development that's happening between birth to 5 years of age, it is the most critical time to catch children.
95% or something?
Yeah, I believe it was either 94% of the brain by age 3.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy and connections happening in the brain, and we want to take advantage of that time.
Right. That's incredible. Gosh, what a program.
Well, I'm passionate about it, and
I can tell.
Anybody who knows me, especially the people that I work with or our families, I'm solely dedicated to ensure that all children have the opportunity to become successful in school.
So now you always have a wait list.
Yes.
But that should not stop anyone from going down and checking it out, signing up, taking your paperwork in. Now, what kind of paperwork do they need to bring to see if they qualify?
Right now we have open enrollment for the 2017-2018 school year, and that school year will technically start in August. And so right now with open enrollment, parents are encouraged to come down to the office. There's an office here on Maui at 99 Mahalani Street, and then there's also one on Molokai. But what we're looking for is for parents to come in with their child's state birth certificate. They need their income verification for 2016, and if they did their taxes, that's the easiest document to bring in. If they did not, what we need to do is ask them for their pay stubs. We need to have consecutive pay stubs every month, especially if they changed job. We just need to show some kind of a flow on how did they make their living in 2016 to show evidence.
Right.
A lot of times if parents receive TANF, we need a TANF printout to show what they received. And despite the fact that parents may come in with all of these items, if there's special circumstances like adoption papers or anything that would be significant to the child, I would highly encourage parents to bring that in, even at the time of application. Or if the child was being seen by IMUA, because they're early intervention program, to bring in whatever documents, because even if the child is not yet certified through the Department of Education, it's important that that process gets started if the child is still progressing in their development.
Gotcha. Wow, that's cool. I just want to point out that you talked about tax returns.
Yes.
A lot of folks don't know that there's free tax return service available.
Yes.
And I think this is just worth taking a couple of seconds to talk about. Maui Federal Credit Union has free tax service available. You need an appointment to work with them. Their phone number is 873-5050. Again, that's 873-5050. Goodwill Industries of Maui has free tax preparation available. No appointment required. Give them a call at 836-0313. I remember from my days at MEO where the tax returns were so important for many things, and of course in working with our new development here in the housing, affordable housing, tax returns were an important piece of qualifying people. And I see so often that people, they just delay doing it because either they don't have the money to get it done or are afraid to do it themselves. And for the average person who has just basically income and expenses, no major investments or any of those kinds of things, these free tax preparation places are fabulous.
Absolutely.
So please do that. That's the easiest way to get ready to go see the folks at MEO.
Yes.
And get your children signed up.
Absolutely. And, it's important to say that services provided through Head Start is at no cost to the family. I think that I take it for granted that people know that, but I definitely want to put it out there that, it is a federally funded program. We do everything based on what federal requirements that we need to follow. And we also have a selection criteria, which is designed to identify those families that are considered eligible.
Very good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That was the fastest half hour today. And your passion shows through, didn't it, Wes?
Yep.
Aw, thank
I mean, it's just it's there, and every year I think you get more passionate. I think if that's possible.
I don't know how that's possible, but well, it's because of the different challenges that come, and you have to find ways of becoming creative
Right.
in every single day.
Right.
Right?
Wonderful. Thank you, and thank your staff for all they do.
Absolutely.
Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Susie.
Okay, Debbie, thanks.
Thank you.
That was Debbie Amaral, who's the Director of the Department of Early Childhood Services for MEO, otherwise known as Maui Economic Opportunity. Wes, are you ready? You're up.
On your marks.
On your
Right.
marks, get set, go. So, Wes, most of you out there know Wes Lowe from his experiences at the hospital. And what a terrific job you did there in getting them on track. And I know you had hoped that the transition would take place while you were still there, but it wasn't meant to be. And this opportunity opened up for you, and we're so glad that you took it. Holly Makua Health Services has such a great reputation, and we know that you're only going to improve on that. Can you make great greater? Yes, you can. Is it greater or more great? Anyway, Wes, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Glad to. I know we had you on as a guest with the foundation folks from
Yeah,
the
and with
hospital.
Tony, I think with Tony Krieg, my predecessor,
Yeah.
Holly McCool, once I think we were
and
on the
and
show.
yeah, and so it's good to have you here as a fellow ED.
Yeah, thank you. Nice seeing you again and working with you more directly again. So
Yes.
it's always good to see you.
So Wes, 3 months on the job?
Almost.
Almost.
Yeah, I think I was counting. It's been 83 days. I think there's 31 days in December, so
I
therefore
see.
my 83 days. So, yeah, so it's been a whirlwind. It's been great though.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Well, I know that I've heard some of. I guess you made the round of some of the senior clubs this week, or the past weeks, and I know they're all excited about some of the changes that you're talking about and the enhancements. I guess
Yeah.
maybe is a better way to say it.
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah, I've been trying to make my rounds. I think one of the most important things is always to listen. What the community has to say, and and I know the most influential people in the county of Maui are the seniors. They're a wonderful group, and I've been fortunate enough to work with MEO, and I have been making the tour. I think I'm going to try to make 6 this month and the other 500 next month. But it's always wonderful.
Right.
I'm still really the neophyte in the long-term care. Healthcare is different as you get to different levels, but certainly enjoying it. And the staff at Holly Makua has been just wonderful. And I really enjoy, going around and staying by, we call them residents, there. And I get to see a lot of families, and so it's nice. I think that I want to correct you.
Okay.
I think Holly Makua has always been great. I am not going to make it greater. I just think that we just need to prepare for a new future. And I think that that's sort of my goal. Tony did a fabulous job over the 30, 35, 34, 300 years, whatever it was. Tony was there.
It was a
An
few
icon.
years, yes.
He's an icon, and I can only, humbly try to, just be as influential on the healthcare delivery system as he was. But I think that there's a lot of changes coming, especially for Maui County, and I'm pretty excited about it for everybody involved. And it's interesting. It evolves around the transition of the hospital. But as I always say, is all the issues around healthcare manifest themselves at the hospital, but there's all this other stuff going on that really need to sort of figure and find out. So I think what's going to happen, my sense is in healthcare is that with the new resources that Kaiser is going to provide, or any company that we were looking at, and I think we're fortunate to have Kaiser. There's going to be more physicians here. We're going to be able to take care of more patients here. We do not have to go fly to Honolulu anymore. That's the goal, right? But I think healthcare is changing where really we don't want to be in institutions. We don't want to be in hospitals. We want to get at the appropriate level of care as fast as possible. So I think that we need to speed things up, and we need to start trying to make sure that we can take care of more problems outside of the hospital and get people home as fast as possible. So I think there's a lot of landscape changing we need to take care of. We need to bring in more services. We need to beef up our physicians' services, and then we need to start bringing new equipment. And we need to be able to get people flowing through the system as fast as possible. The best place for them to convalesce is at home.
Right.
And I think that there's this structural change we will need to make, because everything we've built on this island was built for an earlier year. And I do got to say is that our forefathers planned this community brilliantly. Now we just need to adjust and go back and revisit what they've done.
Right. On that note, we're going to take a short
sure.
break, and we'll be back and we'll explain further.
Yeah.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, and we're talking story this afternoon with Wes Lowe, who's the new CEO of Halemakua Health Services. Never get tired of saying the new CEO. There's something about being the new person in charge.
Yeah. It's better than saying the old, age-wise anyway.
Oh, I wasn't thinking anything about age.
Right, yeah.
I just, and I think about your background and how perfect it is, or what you've accomplished and what you've been into in the last, I'm going to say 15 years. Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And how it's kind of set you up to jump into this, because even when you first started into the hospital, you realized there were things that the hospital shouldn't be doing, and that was that long-term care piece, I think, that we talked about years ago.
Right. Yeah. I mean, again, I think I've been fortunate to be in healthcare. I've been fortunate to work at the hospital. But really the directions, and it's going to sound Pollyannish, but the directions we've gone is really because the community has wanted to go in certain directions. You need to find the ways to get there. But yeah, I've learned a lot about healthcare over the last few years. I would say it took me 10 years to even understand what's going on in a hospital. And I'm really fortunate to be in the long-term care side. I think that it's a symbiotic relationship, the whole healthcare delivery system. You cannot look at just one piece, and if you lull yourself to sleep if you only look at one piece, because something else will cause issues. So I'm really fortunate to work in the long-term care side because it's an issue for the hospital. So one of my pitches today is that we want to improve the thing and save the state and the taxpayer money, and also get better quality of care. It sounds really kind of interesting, but that's what my goal is. And we are pushing some bills at the legislature. Two bills in particular are moving for us, so we're really fortunate. They're all based on the same premise. But one of the deals is that at the hospital the other day, I talked to the director of nursing, and I go, how many people shouldn't be in the hospital today? We call it the wait list. And she goes, 47. She goes, oh my goodness, it's terrible. They might have to cancel surgeries. People are backed up in the emergency room, et cetera, because there's no beds. And meanwhile, we had 60 empty beds. Crazy. And so when you think about the whole healthcare delivery system, it's wild, because in the hospital, the approximate average cost to take care of a patient, that same patient, is about $1,500 a day. And at Halemakua or Kula Hospital is probably $300 to $500 per day. And so you bang your head, how come you're not taking care of them? So we need to retool our businesses. We need to be able to take higher acuity patients. So I'm working on an initiative to try to bring in a stronger physician component. We're actually working with Kaiser on that, so that they provide a lot more physician resources so we can handle higher acuity patients. There's a lot of specialty equipment that costs money that, for a nonprofit, why do you take something that you're going to lose money on? Well, it serves your mission, but you do too much of that, you don't make it up on volume. You keep on losing money. So we're asking for a little bit of money for more equipment so that we could take care of these patients better at Halemakua and save everybody money. And then we're also looking, there's a gap group of people at the hospital, those people that don't qualify for Medicaid. They have Medicare and, they go skilled, and all of a sudden they're going to go to Medicaid and they have no insurance because they own one millionth of a piece of Kuleana land on Molokai or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
or
right.
Paluku, whatever.
Right.
So you get that problem, and these poor folks are stuck in the hospital getting bills at, for acute care stay, and they don't do it. So we said, we don't mind taking care of them. We don't mind taking care of uninsured, underinsured, and some of them are homeless people. We're there to serve the community, but we can't do it if we don't have money. So we're trying to convince the legislators that if you gave us a little bit of money to take care of them at a much lower cost, we'll save you literally millions. So we did this little study, and if we took 20 patients per day, and we're asking for $2 million in the legislature, we would save the state $11 million.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty good investment.
Yeah.
There's problems with it. I understand it's a tough budget year, but so I think but that's the goal, is to be able to take, especially as Kaiser comes and brings in more physicians, more patients will stay here. We need to accommodate that. The delivery system needs to accommodate, so we're working on that. And ultimately, the next thing is we need to work on things like home health and continue to pursue that, because that is the future. Is we should not take care of people in institutions. We need to take care of them at home. That's the best place to convalesce. And that's the goal, and we need to retool to get that. So there are a couple bills out there. Quickly, I'll say it's SB 277 and HB 709 that are there. And if you guys ever want to give me a holler or something, I'd love to talk to you guys, anybody about it. I'm talking to the seniors about it. I'm trying to get support from the community to promote those bills, because all it can do is save you money for the state and provide the more appropriate level of care for everybody. So that's one big thing for us
Right.
right now.
Right. I'm curious about the statement that you made that you had empty beds. Is there just, obviously there's a need,
Yeah. So
but it's there's a disconnect.
yeah.
someplace.
So some of them is sometimes it's they don't have insurance, or they're ineligible for Medicaid. So for a nonprofit to take somebody to take care of them for maybe years and have zero insurance and no payment is a burden, and it would actually stop us from providing our mission is taking care of other patients.
Right.
So there's that issue. There are some specialty equipment that costs more money than our reimbursements are.
Okay.
So like CPAP or BiPAP or wound vac, all these technical terms, is if it costs us more to provide it than we're going to get reimbursed for, it doesn't allow us to pursue our mission. And then also we need more specialists in the physician component to take more patients, because you need that higher level of specialty to take care of it. Like what's going to happen as Kaiser comes over, there'll be more stroke patients, there'll be more orthopedic patients, there'll be more neurological patients. You need a higher level, and then you could take more of those patients. Healthcare workers don't take patients they can't take care of properly. So that's the reason for I heard somebody use the word the constipation in the system, and it's happening across the state right now.
Interesting. So it's those specialties that you need, because the general physician can't do.
Well, or you need a physician that is more robust physician component, somebody that has access to the specialist, can spend more time with the patient. Right now, we have to hire a temporary type of physician who's on call 24/7, 365, and then they leave after a few months, and then we try to hire another one, and the staff need to get familiar. It's a dance when you take care of people. You can't just somebody new, okay, same old.
Yeah. So now, do the patients that you have, or residents, I guess you call them, have their own doctors who come in?
There are some that do that, but by and large, Kaiser takes care of Kaiser patients, but the majority of ours are taken care of by our physician that we have to hire, because the community physicians are not very many are admitting into our facility, so it's a new expense for us.
Oh, I see.
So that's why we need to transition and transform ourselves to really embrace the physician side of it.
I see. Interesting.
Yeah.
And when you talk about long-term care, does a person have to reach a certain stage, either in an illness or age, or
It's not an age thing; it's an acuity thing. It's so they're not acute where they should be in a hospital. We call them subacute or something, and then there's various levels of skilled level, which is more for rehab. So let's say you get a hip surgery and you need some time or something happens, that would be a skilled level. And then there's a longer term nursing level of care, which is the typical nursing home patient that could be for a long period of time that needs physician support, nurse support, social work, dietary. So we take care of all of that. In addition, we have an adult day health program, which is for those that needs some level of medical assistance during the day, nursing, dietitian, social work. We take care of them, I think we're from 7 till 5. And then we have a care home, which is just, it's more like an assisted living type of facility.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Did the adult day thing? That's like a drop-in center.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. You're probably familiar with daycare,
right?
Which is activities, et cetera, and they have some assistance in meals, et cetera. Day health is for a little bit more it's a doctor has to prescribe it. It is covered by many Medicaid plans. But it is, we actually have a licensed dietitian. We have a nurse supervision. We have, activities. We have social work, et cetera. So it's a little bit more robust, but you have to have a physician prescribing that program.
Oh, okay. Is that constantly full?
We could be more full. We're trying to, make sure that the physicians know about it and it's available. And, it does give some caregivers a little bit more respite. But we're not trying to compete with the daycare folks.
Right.
We certainly have capacity to take more. And so that's I'm making sure that the community knows of these services. That I think a lot of people think of Halemakua only as a nursing home.
Right.
And I think that we really want to become the post-acute care provider.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Well, I join the rest of the community when you say nursing home, or like I said, when I had my knees done,
right.
I had the home health.
Right.
Where somebody came out twice a week or something.
Yeah, you're homebound, right? Yeah,
and showed me what to do and how to strengthen those muscles around the knees and get up and get going again.
Yeah. I assume it's better to be at home, right, than in institutional facilities.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're all great facilities, don't get me wrong, but they're not,
Yeah.
Well, hospital, there's lots of stuff going on around you, and it's not very common. And nursing home is better, but then, ultimately, I think we need to build our healthcare delivery system to provide for that, and that's kind of the dream right now.
Right. Yeah. I like when I had the last one done, it was like the doctor said, okay, as soon as you can walk up and down the steps with your crutches, I'll let you go home. And I said, if I do it in 2 days, you're going to keep to that promise? Yeah. And he said, well, it usually takes 4 or 5. I said, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
And I was home on the 3rd day.
Good. That's excellent.
And because I knew I had, somebody coming in from Halemakua to help me do the right exercises and check out stuff.
Yes.
There you go. And, it's wonderful. If you can get out of there and get back to your kind of routine, even though you can't do all the stuff, it makes a big difference.
Right.
Than kind of being in that institutional setting.
Yeah, there's always a need for the institution. We just need to build it the right size, et cetera. So one of our other initiatives, if I may, is we're going to embark upon a master plan. And we're going to try to decide what the community needs to right size it and try to develop the services. And we're going to look at services, et cetera. And I'm pretty excited about it. I commented this to Roy Katsuda the other day is, our forefathers in Maui County were brilliant people. I mean, absolutely brilliant. You look at hospital, J. Walter Cameron Center, they planned that whole thing.
Right.
You look where Halemakua is and Halemaho'olu, it is perfectly planned. We just need to revisit and say, how can we service that senior community better? Because we're surrounded by Halemaho'olu.
Right.
And so it's kind of exciting times.
That's right, you are. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's neat. So we're really excited about that. And I think that some of our facilities are a little bit old and tired. Wailuku is, I think it was in the 60s, and Kahului originally was built in the 70s. Last I checked, we're not in that century anymore. So it's time. And so really excited to build facilities that are more for the contemporary level of healthcare and for driven by the caregivers and the residents.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the goal.
Cool. That'll be exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
So you guys going to take the lead on that?
Well, yeah. So we're actually just we're doing a master plan. I'm hoping to engage the seniors, the senior
Right.
clubs, as well as I talked to Roy saying, hey, can you just be part of the as we start talking through it. And I'm really excited about it. I mean, we'll see what comes. It's going to take some time, and then obviously the darn thing about planning and doing architectural stuff is you got to find money to build it. But
Right.
but at least we'll have some vision, and we've been having some discussions with the county too. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I knew you wouldn't just kind of take 3 to 6 to 8 to 9 months to learn what's going on at Halemakua. But you've jumped in with both feet, both hands, and a full full heart of wanting to make things work.
I use a different term than I would use. I appreciate those terms that I would use. Attention deficit disorder is more the problem.
You have to have something to work towards and for.
Yeah, there's one other thing, if I may, I'm also really excited about. Because I think all employers should be part of the community and really think about it. But one of their biggest problems in healthcare is workforce.
Right.
And we need to figure out this workforce development thing. And we're kind of working with the state. I actually want to get into the middle schools and the high schools to start telling them what the opportunities are around them, so that they have other opportunities other than flipping burgers.
Right.
And stuff. And then we build an apprenticeship program, a ladder program, so that healthcare it's one of the higher paying professions, and there's a whole variety of it. It doesn't necessarily patient care, but I'm pretty excited about it. We're working with the state to maybe get some grants. We are hoping to start some programs and also start an apprenticeship program in healthcare with a career ladder. And I don't know, I get excited about that because that's going to give back to everybody. And I think that we need those people to take care of us as we age. So. Anyway, I'm sorry. That's probably.
No. But the closer we get there, the more we realize that somebody's got to be there to take care of us and help us out.
Yeah.
But I think it's true that's an area that most kids, middle school, high school, don't even think about unless they've had someone who's been in a facility at some point.
Right, and also, you don't think about it. I didn't think about anything, and when I was in 6th or 7th grade, I said, well, maybe if I just took that extra math class, at least I would have the ability later to pursue being something else. But if you don't, then you don't have that track available to you. So we want to just at least talk to them about it. We're not trying to convince them. We're saying hey, it's just an option. One class. And then your future is ahead of you, and you can decide. And I do think that interactive, intergenerational, and working at the middle school, we learn as much from them as they learn from us.
Right. Very good. Thank you, Wes.
Yeah.
That was a quick half hour.
Yeah.
Good luck to you in all your endeavors, and I mean, it's all great. It's what we need. I mean, it's not a can we, it's how can we.
I think all of us,
Yeah.
in this nonprofit world. We got to.
Right.
We
We gotta.
have to.
We gotta.
Yeah.
That's our new slogan. We
There we
gotta.
go. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for being with us, Wes.
Okay, Susie. Always good.
Maui Nonprofit Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Give Paul a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Base Yard on East Oahe Way to see how they can help you with your building project. We want to thank Debbie Amaral, who's the Director of Early Childhood Services at MEO, and Wes Lowe, who's the CEO of Halemakua Health Services, for the updates they gave us today and for all the information of what's coming up. We want to thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to join us again next week right here, same time, same place, when we'll feature representatives of 2 other member agencies of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association. Until then, I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host. Aloha, everyone.